We're live, guys. Welcome back to another edition of the Dan Gets Rich Endurance Sports Podcast. Today is Sunday, October the 10th, and this is season number 3, episode something. I don't remember. I didn't look that up. I don't recall where we are. I know we're close to 100 episodes. Somebody wants to count those out for us and tell us exactly where we are. We're probably going to need to have a 100-episode gathering, if you will. Hey, please follow us on our social medias at Dan Gets Rich on the Facebook and the Instagram, and please hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you consume your podcast. I know we're on the YouTube machine. I think we're on the Facebook Live machine right now, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. My name is Richard Parks, and I'm joined, as always, on this Sunday edition of the Dan Gets Rich podcast by Daniel King Dan Cole. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, what's going on, Rich? I know it's been a little while. Our schedule's been kind of crazy. We talked about it just before we got on. So this might be history in DGR right now. I don't think we've ever done a Sunday episode.
I was just walking my dog. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, I don't recall. Maybe we have somewhere, but I don't recall us actually doing a Sunday edition.
Probably not. I think now we've hit every single day of the week now. So we like to keep people in suspense about when we're actually coming on.
And we fit every period of time. This is like a mid-morning edition. I think it's 9:30 in the morning. So we've had the early coffee edition. We've had the this is a brunch edition, maybe.
It's somewhat like that, but I still got this. I got my Coke. I got my Coke coffee in full effect going on right now. So fired up.
How is that? How is that?
I absolutely love it. I know we talked about this on the podcast, probably in season 2 some point. I love the Coke coffee. I'm probably the only person that drinks it, though, because I see now whenever I walk in the Publix that it's always on clearance.
We can't get rid of this stuff. That's funny. I was just thinking yesterday, last night, did you watch any football last night? Did you watch that Alabama game?
I was watching the highlights of it. I didn't actually watch the game, but saw major upsets. And football is crazy this year. NFL, college football. I think I saw a stat this morning on ESPN. It said 40 losses this year. And again, what are we in, week 5 or 6 in college football, week 5 in football? 40 upsets of top 25 teams this year. That's kind of crazy.
It's unbelievable. It's parity. It's called parity.
It's something. I don't know what it is, but yes. Anyway, Alabama, I guess, first time Nick Saban has lost to one of his coaches under his tutelage that have gone on to coach at other places, and I think it ended a streak of 100 wins against non-ranked teams. So, shout out to Texas A&M for going in there, and Jumbo Fisher. I know he's probably a little close to your heart since he was a coach at FSU for a while.
Oh, he's hated over there. He kind of turned his back on FSU, and he's not a well-liked man in that realm.
Wouldn't you give the big FU to FSU if you had the chance to go to Florida to Texas A&M and be in the SEC?
I mean, I don't know why. I've always had this soft place in my heart for Texas A&M. I think it's a 12th man kind of thing, that kind of mentality that they have, that they've instilled that culture in that program where it's just not the guys on the football field. They really believe in that 12th man, and it shows. And last night, Janine went to Hamilton yesterday with some girlfriends and came home, and we kind of turned on the TV, and it was halftime of the Alabama game, and Texas A&M was up 24-10. So I said, we got to watch this to fruition and see what goes on. In a fantastic game, Texas A&M pulled it out with a last-second field goal to win it, and of course the 12th man came on the field to celebrate. But my point of all that was going back to your Coke. They had the Coca-Cola where they were pushing the whole game the Coke sugar-free. And if I'm drinking Coca-Cola, I don't want sugar-free. Give me the real thing. I'm not going to drink many Cokes. I have one every now and then. But when I do, I want the real thing. I don't want the sugar-free Coke. I don't want that. I'm not messing with that.
No, if you are going to drink a soda, give me the full sugary,
yes,
plentiful of that. I don't want the sugar free. I don't want the one with the aspartame in it, which is basically the same thing. So yeah, give me the original.
Yes,
terrible.
Yeah, I'm with you. So that's where I was getting in full circle. That I had to tell the story about Texas A&M beating. I think Alabama hadn't lost a regular season game in like 21 games or something. I could be wrong on that. I'm pretty close there.
Yeah, it was crazy. So two of the top four teams lost yesterday. Obviously, you saw Iowa and Penn State. One of them had to go down. They were 3-4. Iowa squeaked it out after the Penn State quarterback got hurt. So going to be a big shakeup. And you think Iowa's going to hop into that number one spot after beating number 4? And Alabama?
I think it's going to be Georgia, right?
I don't know. Yeah, it may be Georgia. Iowa may leapfrog them this season. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But
if I'm not mistaken, you're a Wake Forest grad, right? Demon Deacons?
No, Seton Hall.
Okay. Why was I thinking you're Wake Forest? I made you a lot smarter than you are then, I guess. I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I saw that they were 6-0 yesterday. I was like, oh, I think that's where Dan went to school. I had you at Wake Forest. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. No, I decided to go to school right next to Jersey. I thought that was the best place for me to go to school.
Sure. Let's not get into sunny Florida or anything. Let's just stay up there and moss our way across the fields to class in 2 feet of snow. I don't know. Does it snow there? I don't know.
Jersey, it does, yeah. But so my freshman year, I went to University of Maine up in Orono, and the day I left, which was in May, we had a bad snowstorm, and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Not very often you get snowstorms at the end of May.
Yeah, end of May. I haven't been to Maine. I've heard it's beautiful though.
Oh, I mean, I would recommend, obviously, if you're from Florida, going in the summertime, because it's absolutely gorgeous up there. There's tons to do. The landscapes up there are actually so beautiful up there. So if you have the opportunity, definitely. If you want the full experience, though, go in January, and then you can learn what it's like to shovel out your car, warm your car up for 30 minutes, scrape the windshields, go back inside, get your coffee, hop back in your car, all before you head out to work. So that is the full experience.
Oh, that sounds delightful. That's I just can't believe anybody would leave that.
It is fun. I do miss it. You go from one extreme to the other. So it is so, and I've been down in Florida for years now, but my God, this year, and I probably say this every single year, it's been ungodly hot this year. And
you can go back to every year. We've done this our 3rd year, I think. And you can go every year, and we're both like, man, this is the hottest summer ever. We've got it on recording. This is the hottest summer ever. I've never sweated this much. I can't believe it's so hot. Hey, I did walk outside today, and I didn't do much today. It was one of the rare days where I just didn't get up early and go do anything. I took my dog for a walk. I know there's as for local news, their Game On Sports is having their triathlon down there at Metzler's, and what fantastic weather they have it today. I know we complain about the weather a lot, but I think I woke up today, it was 69 degrees down here at the beach, and it's just delightful, wonderful weather.
It is very nice weather out there, but the waves and the ocean were not cooperating this morning. And I heard, and I have not confirmed this, but I did get a text. We always talk about the things that go on in triathlon, and the not knowing, and especially swimming is always the biggest part. We always talk about the sport safety and what goes on. We will get into Augusta and what goes on, but locally here, I got a text saying that a tragedy in the water this morning at Game On, and waiting to hear updates on that. But I guess there was one individual looked like he was needed to be taken to the hospital. Hopefully he makes it through. So, well wishes. I don't have his name or anything like that, but we wish the best and wish Willie the best. Obviously the Game On race promoter and an event organizer. So you never want to see that happen, but it is one of those things that is part of triathlon, and unfortunately it seems like it's happening one too many times.
Yeah, I wonder if it happens more than it has been in the past. I don't know. It's kind of one of the risks of going outside and doing things, man. If you're going to be in triathlon, if you're going to be active in endurance sports, you're going to be outside, and there are definitely some inherent risks that come along with that. But definitely, I mean, I think we're going to talk about this here in a few minutes with some other things. I don't know. We haven't discussed if we're going to even address that, but we probably will. But it can be dangerous, and the water can be dangerous. Things happen fast in the water, whether you're swimming in the water, on the boat on the water, fishing in the water, or anything. Seems like things happen quickly on the water, and they escalate quickly. So, hopefully all is well out there at Game On. So.
Yeah, for sure. So we wish him the best. Yeah, Sky was out there. I just got a quick text saying what's going on. And so hopefully, again, I don't know what's going on there. You had texted me last night, say, you sure you want to do the podcast at 9:30? Aren't you at Game On? And unfortunately, I got the pass from being out there today because I got home late yesterday.
Yeah, where were you yesterday? Where were you yesterday?
So I went down to St. Petersburg. Obviously, you know, I'm a big time New England homer. And when the Red Sox play the Rays in the playoffs and you can get a cheap ticket to sit in the stadium for a playoff game, you got to go.
What is a cheap ticket for a playoff game in baseball?
So unfortunately, they only had upper deck seats. I think they tried to limit the number of Red Sox fans sitting down in the lower bowl because obviously, you know, the Rays, no matter how good the Rays are, they have like 5,000 fans that go to a regular season game, which is crazy. If I lived in that Tampa Bay area, I would probably buy season tickets up in the upper deck because you could probably do that for a couple $100. You go for a couple innings, probably every day, or, you know, sit at the game, whatever. Mm-hmm. And anyway, $50 to sit in the upper deck to watch a ALDS playoff game. Can't beat that.
You know, I was going to say overall, that's probably a very, very good deal to see a playoff game.
There's no doubt about it. So I went the last time I went to the playoffs game, Red Sox were playing the Rays back in 2008, and this was in the ALCS. And I went to all four, the game 1 and 2 and game 6 and 7 because they were in Tampa. And I went to game 7. I think I spent $45 on my ticket.
Nice.
I mean, it's just crazy.
South Florida. I lived in Fort Lauderdale for a while, and we the Marlins had their run when I was down there, and you could just walk up and get a ticket anytime. There was, like you said, average was they were like first place, and they were averaging 16,000 people at every game. So it was the people just don't support them. There's a lot of people that are not from Miami or not from Tampa, and they'll show up. They're from Boston. They'll show up when the Red Sox show up. They'll show up when the Yankees show up. They'll show up when another team shows up. So it always ends up being the visiting team has more fans than the home team. So yeah, it's a weird thing down there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's funny because it was probably one of the most entertaining games that you could see. So top of the first, Red Sox court.
Who won? I didn't even look.
Yeah. Red Sox won. So they tied the series. They tied the series 1-1. They play game 3 tonight or this afternoon at 4:00. So in the first inning, we score 2 runs. We leave the bases loaded, right? So I'm like, it's still, first good inning. So, and we had Chris Sale on the mound, who's our number 1 pitcher. He comes out, and I was watching him in pregame. He didn't look tell he bounced a couple balls and, wasn't throwing very hard, and I say that relatively speaking, because he was throwing like 93, 94, but he's typically a 90, 97, 98 guy.
Okay.
Comes out in the first inning. We're up 2-0. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Everybody around me were Red Sox fans because that's all the tickets you could buy is the upper deck. And so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, first Rays guy gets a hit. Second Rays guy gets a hit. I was like, oh man, first and second, nobody out. Get one out. Anyway, they had scored a run. Then I think Chris Sale walked a guy. And again, this is probably not in the exact order. Anyway, come up. It's now 2-1. And what happens? I can't remember who it was from the Rays, hits a grand slam. So boom, all of a sudden we're down 5-2. We go from feeling really good about ourselves to feeling really shitty about ourselves. But then
the upper deck got quiet.
Yeah, the upper deck got quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden the Red Sox just they brought their bats that night. Man, they hit 5 or 6 home runs that night, 2 3-run homers. I mean, they just absolutely pounded the Rays pitching. I mean, it was unbelievable. Ended up winning 14-6. So good on them. I'm excited. I think everybody's rejuvenated. We all left happy, or at least half the stadium left happy, because I want to say it was crazy. Something happens on the Red Sox, and it feels. I always call Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg that stadium there. It's Fenway South. All the people that live near Fort Myers area that get they all go there to watch a game because it's so difficult to get a ticket up in Fenway Park. But looking forward to this afternoon, and we'll see what happens.
Well, good, man. Well, this time of year, Dan, is the time when when people of the triathlon world are putting their summer long training to the test. There were a lot of races that kind of went on since we've been on. We had Ironman Memphis 70.3, Ironman Chattanooga. We had Augusta 70.3. A lot of things going on in all three of those races. A couple other races. I think Ironman Texas full was yesterday. So a lot going on. Why don't you start us out? We had Ironman Augusta 70.3. I know that a lot of stellar endurance athletes were in Jacksonville, Florida. A lot of stellar endurance athletes make that kind of their pilgrimage up Augusta every year, and this year was no different.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ironman Augusta 70.3, we usually have about 25, 30 people that are racing out there. And again, this year was no different. The one thing that was different, though, Augusta, Georgia was not steaming hot like it typically is. I mean, we got out there, or I was not at that event. I was out of town. I think I mentioned you. I was out in beautiful South Dakota, out in Deadwood, South Dakota, which is actually a pretty cool town. It's probably a fun place to visit. I got to go see Mount Rushmore, which is kind of cool. But back to the race. Yeah, anytime you can go out there and the start time is in the 60s. I mean, you raced there 2 years ago. You know how ungodly hot it can be out there. It's just like death march out on the run by the time you get out there. But there was actually some pretty good weather for Ironman Augusta 70.3. So it was great to see so many athletes out there competing in their first 70.3s and finishing some of their events. We had some great times out there and had a lot of PR. So happy to see everybody out there. Wish I was out there. That's always one of my favorite venues to go out there and kind of cheer people on, because you can see so many people out there at different times.
And we did talk about some kind of medical on the swim here at Game On. There was an event that went on in Augusta, and one of our stellar athletes was kind of she wasn't her, but she was involved with it. And she kind of swam up on a guy who was having a medical emergency, and this is such a traumatic thing to happen to anybody, to kind of swim up on somebody. And I can't imagine being in that position to trying to help a swimmer, while you're struggling to take care of yourself, get out of the water, and how traumatic that would be. And I just hope, for the family of the gentleman, he did pass away, and the athlete, the stellar athlete, hope, just kind of dealing with that and coming to terms with that as you're going out on a day to race and have a good time. You come across that, and it's just a very, very traumatic experience. And, I don't even know what to say about that, but I just hope everybody deals with that and comes to grips with that as best they can.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it's one of those inherent risks that you go on that are part of triathlon. We just talked about it this morning, and Augusta 70.3. Unfortunately, the gentleman passed, but you do see every now and then there are. You see local triathlons that, that have tragedies like that. But it's just, yes, for someone out there swimming and then you come up on somebody and they try to grab you,
Sure.
to keep from just going under the water. And I know at Ironman Augusta, they do have, they do have divers out there. So if anybody does, but it's a point-to-point swim. So that's a long place for them to cover out there. And, when, like you said, when, swimming is not your, the best thing that you participate in, and you're out there trying to do it, and you come across that. Yeah, it's a pretty traumatic experience. And I mean, for everybody. I mean, not everybody involved. I mean, even at the, for everybody participating in the race, hearing something like that goes on after definitely changes the vibe of what goes on, and you wish the best for the family and everybody involved.
Yeah, definitely. So, kind of enough on that. One of the things that there's so many other races kind of going on this little time slot, and so I guess the big names kind of skipped Ironman Augusta 70.3. I know a couple years ago Lionel was there, and obviously I'm a fanboy of Lionel Sanders. So, but we had Aussie Ellie Salthouse took it with a. I don't even know have her time, but she ran a 1:13.5. Man, that's blistering. So must have had some good conditions. And the guy from Portugal, Felipe Azevedo, won first in the men's. So kind of lacked the star power of a big Ironman 70.3 race. But congratulations to those guys who took first in those divisions.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the championships, being so close to that, and obviously you see how long it takes them to recover. I mean, I know you saw Sam Long finish second at the Ironman World Championship, 70.3. He tries to turn around the next week and race an Ironman race, and was going to be able to finish, but decided to end up pulling out because he said he was going to do more damage to his body. So things like that. I mean, it just takes a while to recover when you're going that hard and redlining one of those races out there. So, but yeah, I mean, there's been a ton of races, obviously things being pushed back, because of COVID now, and you see a bunch of races going on, and a lot of stellar athletes out there, doing their first races. Shout out to Mimi Brown, part of the Stellar family, who was out at Ironman Indiana, finishing her first. And man, it's amazing watching athletes compete at a high level in their first Ironman, just because it's such a long day and so many things can happen. As you know, I mean, I epically failed earlier in my Ironman attempt earlier this year. So anyway, a shout out to her. And Sky got the best text from Mimi, and if you know Mimi, she's. I mean, I don't know her that well, but she seems like a very, reserved person, pretty quiet. Maybe I'm way misspoken, but so she sends a text to Sky after she finishes, and she goes, "I'm an Ironman, motherfucker." And it just seems so out of context. It's absolutely hilarious.
I don't know her well at all. I know she is, but coming out from her, that's awesome. And that's what she is, She's
no doubt, no doubt about it. And so good on her. And I know we had Ironman Texas go on yesterday, and a big shout out to the three stellar athletes who were there. Juan Guevara, obviously owner of Running Elements, Peter. Peter, I'm gonna butcher his last name. I always have a little nickname for him, but Snuganoff, I think, and that's probably wrong. Out there finishing, and Christy Cromer, who out there finished her first Ironman, and she finished 13th in her age group. I mean, how freaking awesome is that to do so well in your first Ironman? I mean, it's just,
I think she was the one that posted a thing that she does her pre-race ritual was like like half a glass of whiskey. Was that true? And she's like, my pre-race whiskey. So I was like, oh my God, dude, I'd be down for a week. That would be, I'd have to have recovery. That's her pre-race ritual for the night before. So hey, everybody goes about it differently and prepares themselves differently, and do what you do, and do what makes you most comfortable. But I saw Peter's little race report today, and I guess he got kicked in the calf on the swim and had just had a struggle getting through the race. And that's another thing. I mean, it's a long day, and things happen, whether it be weather, whether it be getting contact with somebody else, whether it be mechanical on the bike. It's a long day, and anything can happen. So you got to be mentally prepared for that to happen, for anything to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's long days out there. And
speaking of weather, Memphis 70.3. Janine went up to that with some girls, and speaking of weather, they had Noah's Ark rain going on. I don't know if you saw any of the pictures, but it was just chaos of rain. And it rained the night before, rained all day, all through the swim, all through the bike, and kind of cleared up a little bit on the very end of the run. But that's just another thing where you've either, and I know some people didn't finish the bike because they felt it was unsafe. There's a lot of hills in Memphis, and that's 100% understandable. You get on a bike and you get on some hills and coming down and out of control and can't see because you've got sheets and sheets of rain. And especially if you're not experienced with the hills like a lot of us here in the Flatlanders of Florida are. But so those conditions can be anything. One thing I did have from Ironman Memphis is what responsibility does Ironman have when they bring their competitors into a place and have them park somewhere, and it rains, and the competitors have to get their cars towed out because they've been parked in a mud puddle and all their cars got stuck.
I saw pictures of
people are having to get their cars towed out for $150 each. The tow trucks were charging them to pull them out. So after you've come and you've competed in this race, you've parked where Ironman has told you to park. They've parked you in their reserved spot for you to park, and then they charge you $150 to get out. There's got to be some obligation on Ironman from their part to help out these athletes.
I would think so, because it looked like just an absolute mud fest where they had you park out there. I mean, that was just crazy. I can't remember who sent me a picture, but it looked like some of those, like half the tires were sunk into the ground.
Yeah.
Like there was no chance you were getting your car out of there.
No, none. So they had these tow trucks lined up, getting everybody $150 pop, and only taking cash, and just robbing these people after they parked exactly where Ironman told them to park. I mean, it's like going to Tampa. You go into the stadium, you pull into lot J, where you pay to park, and they park you, and then you get stuck in there, and they just say, "Oh well, on your own." I think that Ironman definitely has some obligations in a situation like that, and that sometimes Ironman maybe doesn't have the best customer service with a lot of things, and this is one of those things.
There's no doubt about it. Because we talk about triathlon all the time. Has Ironman made the right decision in anything that they've done in the last, I don't know, year and a half? It seems like every time they make a decision, it's the fucking wrong one.
You're like, oh,
you
can do this or that.
You had a 50-50 shot, and you chose the wrong one every time.
Yeah. Hey, another funny story from Ironman Memphis. Like I said, Janine was up there with some of her girlfriends, and they were at after the race, they were at I think a local brewery, or there's a lot of micro breweries called.
Yeah, they were at the Flying Saucer.
The Flying Saucer. Are you familiar with that then?
I'm not familiar with it, but obviously I was on the text thread about it. One of the most hilarious stories. But it had to, obviously your wife was there, so take it away.
Why didn't you tell this story? Because it's very funny. I thought it was funny. I know you did. We were on that text thread. Go ahead.
So we get a text from your wife, who obviously, congratulations out to her. I mean, what was she, 9 months from hip replacement and finishing 70.3? Like that's, I mean,
Janine had a full hip replacement in December of last year, and she did a 70.3, and the smile on her face coming down was just priceless on the runs. And I say runs, she had a good, an hour and a half off her best time in an Ironman 70.3, and it didn't matter. She was so happy. And so, what a great effort, and her resilience through hard times was something to behold. And I got to see it firsthand. I'm blessed to have such a wonderful wife. So continue.
So we get a text after the fact. And if you've been a listener of the show for a long time, I think it was season 1, and I was traveling a lot for work, and I flew into Memphis, Tennessee, and I was traveling around the state of Tennessee. And the first place that I went to after was Dyersburg, Tennessee. And I absolutely ripped Dyersburg, being like, who the fuck would live here? What goes on here? And it was just crazy, because I didn't know, and I wasn't there a long time. So obviously, there was I said a couple things.
You're trying to cover now. You're trying to cover now, Dan.
Yeah, I said some things about Dyersburg that I probably shouldn't have said.
Anyway, we both did. I've never been there.
Yeah, I've never been there either. But anyway, so one of our listeners, Maggie Emerson, sends us an email, or I can't remember what it was, a text or an email or something, saying, "I'm from Dyersburg. You don't know what goes on here. It's a great place to live." And I apologize for that, for bagging on Dyersburg. Yes, it's.
I think it's Dyersville. Dyersville. Is it Dyersville or Dyersburg?
It's Dyersburg.
Oh shit! I had Dyersville. Sorry.
Yeah, and so I felt bad about doing that. So So she actually won one of our contests. If you're listening for a long time, she actually won our Supercars bar tape that we had given out on that, which is kind of crazy, is how things come around, and you never know who is actually listening. So if you're looking right now or watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, you can actually see a picture of her with Janine right there. So Maggie Emerson, shout out to you. What are the freaking odds that Janine would go to Memphis and run into Maggie? And how the hell did they even know that they would be connected somehow? I don't even know how that story went around.
So here's the story. So Janine and her girlfriends go into this flying saucer. It's in Germantown, a part of Memphis, and they're sitting there. They've got their Iron Man swag on, whatever. And a lady goes, "Hey, did you guys do the race?" And she goes, "Yeah, we did the race." And the lady, they're just making small talk. They're on a table right next to him. And the lady goes, "Oh, well, where are you guys from?" And she goes, Janine goes, "Jacksonville, Florida." And the girl goes, Maggie goes, "Do you listen to that podcast?" And Janine said, one of the other girls that was at the table, she goes, "Oh, if she says," and she goes, "That podcast, Dan Gets Rich." And they were like, "No way. How, what are the odds?" And they were like, that's Rich's, this is Rich's wife, you know? And for them to be sitting right next to each other at the flying saucer, and Maggie says, "I'm Maggie Emerson. I'm from Dyersburg, Tennessee. You guys talked about me. They sent me the bar tape." And she goes, "As a matter of fact, my husband took the bar tape and it's on his bike." And Janine, so and Janine's mom plays pickleball, so I'm sending her, I've got a little pickleball brand called Dink Face. I've got some shirts. I'm going to send her some swag, and we're also, Janine, sending her a set of grip tape for Maggie's bike. So we're going to send her a little care package and thank her for listening, to be a long-time listener of the Dan Gets Rich podcast from Dyersburg, Tennessee. But like you said, what are the odds of my wife sitting next to the lady that we sent bar tape to from our podcast? I don't even
and
know.
she did recognize that we embellish a lot of our stories. For her, she must have been listening. I don't
know what she's talking about. I don't embellish anything. I don't lie. It was embellish the same as lie.
No, it's just making the story better, I think, is what we try to do.
Okay.
I think we embellish facts more than we embellish stories. The stories that we tell, unfortunately, that is our life.
Yes, this is the bbest we have. We live in Jacksonville, Florida. We're not, this is the best we have. Yeah, we might embellish on the facts. We're very loose with facts. We've said that before. We see conviction and we nod our head, and it must be true after that. So.
Of course. So anyway, according to TripAdvisor, for those people really flying into Tennessee that want to go visit Dyersburg, they have the Dyersburg County Veterans Walk of Fame. They have the General Auto French Straw Memorial. They have Bikini Bottoms Off-Road Park. I don't know what
is going on
Rich,
there.
I don't know. You just got fired up when I said that, though.
We should go. Let's go.
So shout out to Dyersburg.
And if anybody's working for the Dyersburg Chamber of Commerce, get in touch with us. We'll be your biggest fans and your biggest promoter. We'll have, one of these big buses leaving Jacksonville and driving up to Dyersburg to hang out at the Flying Saucer with Maggie. Maggie actually works at one of the little breweries. She works at one of the little breweries, and I think she just started back working there again. So congratulations on Maggie getting back to the little brewery. We need to come up and see you. We'll all Stellar Endurance bus. We'll head that way and come meet you guys. We'll have a meet and greet.
We have a meet and greet. You know what's funny? You never know who is listening and who you'll run into when we do this podcast, right? So I looked at our stats for the last show that we did, and tell me if this strikes you as weird, Rich. We are from the Jacksonville proper area, right? So it's broken up. It'll say Jacksonville, it'll say Jacksonville Beach, it'll say Atlantic Beach and Neptune Beach. For the people that are listening to our show, we had the same amount of people listen to our show in Atlantic Beach on our last show as we did in Germany. Does that strike you as a little crazy?
Especially since my whole family lives in Atlantic Beach, so they're obligated to listen. So I don't know anyone in Germany. We're big in Germany.
So shout out to all of Germany, right? I don't know. I'd have to dive back in and look a little deeper about where you were located in Germany. But shout out to the Germans out there for listening to us.
I think they're German bots. They're trying. They have them listen, and they're trying to scam us somehow. I don't know.
Hey, whatever. Just anyway, just keep it rolling with that. So, anybody out there listening to our show, obviously, we'd love to hear about. We always talk about, hey, if you have local races out where you are, we'd love to talk about them. We'd love to look into them and see why they're the best races where you're located. But if you also want a shout out on the Dan Gets Rich, email us in or send us a message on Facebook, and we'll give you a shout out for a race finish or whatnot on the Dan Gets Rich podcast.
Yeah, any good stories, anything like that. We're always, I mean, this Maggie Emerson story. We've actually told some pretty funny stories on here. The Maggie Emerson story might be my favorite. It really might be. We're almost 100 episodes in. We've had a lot of stories. We've had several hundred hours of content here, and the Maggie Emerson story was mind blowing. I wasn't on that text thread. I was doing something, and I came on this text thread. I think I was playing pickleball. I came off the court, and all of a sudden, I saw like 17 text messages between you and Janine. I was like, "What is going on?" And then I read it, and I was just, oh man, I was in tears. That was awesome. It was fantastic.
That was absolutely hilarious. You know what? We also talk about, obviously, great finishes and great things that go on in triathlon. Congratulations out to Stellar's own Sam Crozier out there at Ironman Augusta 70.3. Broke the record for the most 70.3s in one calendar year, and he still has about 11 to go. I think we talked about he wants to set the bar so high that nobody even attempts to finish this. And Rich, it was funny on the, he met somebody at one of the races who was trying to do the same thing. And he didn't know who he was. They just happened to randomly run into each other, and he found out this guy was trying to do the same thing. Well, I think he got demoralized when he found out what Sam's plans were for doing something like this. And it was funny. They were both at I can't remember which race they were both at, but they were driving to this, or they were headed to the same race the next day. There was one of those weekends they were doing back-to-backs, and the guy asked for a ride from Sam. So they're sitting there, they're competing against each other to finish the most 70.3s in 1 year. And Sam's actually giving him a ride to the next race. And then
I would expect nothing less from him,
No, Sam is, if you've never met Sam, he's probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet out there. So they do that. And it was tough conditions out there. And at the next race they had, and that guy ended up dropping out, which obviously put basically an end to his quest for the most 70.3s, but good on Sam, man.
Did he drop out because of the bad burrito that Sam gave him on the ride over?
It might have been.
Sure, I'll give you a ride. Here, have this Taco Bell.
Here, you want some snacks and water? I got something for you.
Oh, come on. I can't believe we're 36 minutes into this episode, and it took us that long to mention that. I had it in my notes to talk about Sam Crozier breaking the record at Ironman Augusta 70.3. I think he purposely did that because so many stellar athletes where the record would fall do go up to Augusta and compete, and he had a lot of friends and family and around him during that race, and fantastic on him. What an achievement. I can't imagine doing that. I can't imagine.
I mean,
putting his body through.
I would have tapped out trying to figure out the logistics of how to actually do it, not even participating. The logistics were mind blowing.
I would have tapped out when I saw my credit card bill for trying to pull it off. I mean, I can't. I mean, we had him on the show, and I don't even think he could put a number on it, or was willing to put a number on it, because it was, I think, a small home is what he's spending on it, And also, congratulations to Sky Johnson, Try with Sky, coach him through this. This is something that a coach isn't a normal thing for a coach. A coach might coach an athlete to one or two 70.3s, maybe a 70.3 and a full in a year, but to have to put back to back and put training plans together and nutrition and all that together. So good on her for her effort there too.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a coach, I mean, that's probably one of the most unique things when your athlete comes to you and says, I'm going to train or I'm going to compete in 37 70.3s over the next 52 weeks. What you got for me, coach?
How does you can't use the Google machine for that one, you can't buy a plan for that on online,
No, they don't have the plan for that. So I did speak with Sam, and we are going to have him on in the upcoming week or next 10 days, whatever his schedule allows. Obviously, we're at his mercy since he's traveling the world trying to do the 70.3s, but he will come back on, talk about the world record, and that's just an amazing accomplishment. So good on him. Can't wait to talk to him. And we also talked that we were going to have Justin Metzler. He said he was going to be on in the coming weeks too, talking about his experience at the Collins Cup. I know we're kind of behind, late to the fact on that, but his wife was out there competing at 70.3 World Championships, who competed very well, and et cetera, et cetera. But
she would take a punch from Mike Tyson.
She sure would, man. She may change her tune now, though. If we asked her now if she would do that, it might be a different answer.
Yeah, it might be a different answer. It might have been off the cuff.
Speaking of taking a punch, did you were you I don't know if you're into boxing or not, but probably one of the most anticipated trilogies went on last night. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury went at it last night. So you did you ever watch wrestling?
A little bit. That was like
who,
Andre the Giant type of guy.
Yeah, okay. At this time, do you know who The Undertaker is?
Yes.
So it was great. Tyson Fury at the weigh-in, they do the face-off. So Tyson Fury shows up. He's wearing the Undertaker hat when he does the face-off with Deontay Wilder, and he's like, "I'm not just going to end your career. I'm sending you to the grave."
Down. Jeez.
And then, so the Undertaker character, I don't know who the guy's name is, but he sends an Instagram post and he's, obviously he was a Tyson Fury fan, so he tells him, he's like, as you knock down Deontay Wilder, you should stand over him and say, "Rest in peace." The tagline for the Undertaker. So it was absolutely hilarious. Obviously, Tyson Fury is a great promoter of himself. Not only a great boxer, but he knows how to put on a great promotional thing as well. So ended up winning the trilogy, but it was just absolutely hilarious watching him wear the Undertaker hat there. And probably one of the best lines.
Are you a big boxing fan? Go ahead.
No, boxing's stupid. I'm not a big boxing fan, but I was actually into that. So anyway, he came with one of the best lines, and when they asked him right at the end, and he was going through, and the trilogy's over, so he's kind of giving some kudos to Deontay Wilder, even though they had some back and forth. And he goes, "When the chips are on the table, I always deliver." And Rich, you as a bet man, you know how that goes, right? Chips are on the table, you're delivering.
Got to push the chips in the middle, man. Got to bet to win. Got to play to win. It doesn't. So I see these things kind of peripherally, right? I'm not a boxing fan. I think Tyson Fury has a son that boxes. Correct? Am I correct in this?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, he's how old's Tyson Fury?
I want to say he's like 33 or 34. He's not.
Okay.
I mean, he would have started early. He would have started early if he had a kid.
Who knows? The times are changing, Dan. Times are changing. Then I'm incorrect. But I think my point of this was I see all the I don't know what they are, like the Instagram famous people, like the Logan Pauls and stuff. I don't even know what Logan Paul is, but he challenged.
He's a YouTuber POS boxer.
Should we be YouTube POS boxers? Because Logan Paul, I think, is rich.
Dude, he is making bank. It's funny because he's fighting like MMA fighters and all this stuff, and he's beaten a couple of them, but like he's making buku bucks just by doing that. I don't know.
I heard him. He was on some podcast, and he said he sold $1 million worth of merch one day, and then he goes, the next day I sold $1 million worth of merch. And the next day I sold $1 million worth of merch. I was like, oh my God. He goes, and then it just kept going. So he's selling $1 million worth of merchandise on his, on his website a day.
It's funny because MMA fighters are making more money fighting this schlub than they are actually fighting real fighters.
Well, I think he's calling out Dana White too. He's trying to put a line in the sand, saying that these fighters, and rightfully so, deserve more of the purse and more of the payout than what they're getting. So he's kind of bringing to light maybe the lack of pay and lack of compensations that some of the MMA fighters are getting. He's like, you can get in the ring with me and make 7 figures. You get in the ring with and make 20 grand or something, 25. I don't know what they make. Who knows? But, you can make 100 times that fighting me in the ring. So maybe it's a good thing. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. What he should fight Dana White. That's what he should do.
Could Dana White take him? I don't think he could.
Dana White is a big boy. I don't know. He's bulked up since he's taken over the MMA promotion.
Dude, I think Dana White has looks rode hard. I bet Dana White has been in the high limits craps room a lot at the Bellagio and putting down top shelf tequilas on the rocks or something. He looks rough.
You know who should go at it? Logan Paul should fight Joe Rogan.
Rogan would destroy him. Rogan would kick him. If it was just boxing, no, Rogan's got one of the strongest kicks. You ever see the videos of him kicking bags, just training?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah.
He's destroyed bags. He destroys them.
I saw him take down. He's obviously trains in MMA and does. I think he's a black belt, if I recall correctly. And he's legit. I would like to see them go at it. I think both. First of all, they both have enough YouTube followers where that could be a pretty big pay.
It'd be $10 million each, probably. I think Joe Rogan's making more money than Logan Paul, but and Rogan's printing money over there. He's at the on the Spotify doing his podcast. I don't know what he makes. Who knows? Everybody's piling it up.
He makes more money than we are doing this show. I assure you.
By a little bit, probably. Not by.
He squeaked it out.
Have we made any money? Have we made any money?
No, we pay money to do this podcast.
We actually do pay. It costs us money. Our P&L
every year
our P&L looks bad for this show. You know what? It's a free show, and you get your money's worth.
You get what you pay for, right? I mean,
we get what you pay.
We get on here live. We say we don't make any edits. I think in 3 years we made 2 edits to one of our shows.
That was because I made one racially insensitive comment that we took off, and I don't even think it was bad. It was something about cooking, and you made a faux pas about the biggest country in the world being, Indiana or something like that. I don't even know.
Ireland. Yeah. It was the most ridiculous. It was the most ridiculous answer I think I've ever could have come up with. They're like, "What's the complete opposite of what you should say right now?" Ireland.
So you had to cut it out just so that people would think you weren't, mentally incapable of coming up with a good answer. So
they're like, does he even know what a globe is?
See, I have one. See right there.
I was going to say, you have replaced the globe in your background with the lava lamp, which I'm sending you a lava lamp. I want you to have like 800.
I wish somebody would. I would like. So I'm in the process of building my studio out that way. And so we'll only got a couple more weeks, maybe a couple more of the hostage background kind of drapery. I feel like I'm asking for a ransom when I'm sitting here. So hopefully we'll have a nice setup. I've got a little stand-up desk going on. We're going to have a little bit of a class we're bringing. Now that we're on video, I see your air vent back there, and so I'm going to try to class it up a little bit.
Yeah, it does look like you cut a burlap sack in half and just hung it.
Kind of what it is. It's a burlap. It's like a burlap curtain. It's weird. I don't even know. Like, we're homeless people here. We're homeless.
But I do see that beautiful pink Dan Gets Rich Save the Tata shirt in the background.
Hey, so what's funny is I have a little screen print set up, and I do some screen printing kind of on the side, just kind of fun or whatever. And for those of you guys that want some Stellar merch, we do have some fall Stellar merch on the way. I think that Janina and Sky are starting to put some of that together. So look for that to come out here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. And we'll have some fall gear for you. But one of the very first shirts I printed when I started printing was this it was for the Donna Marathon. And I printed up a couple of these. It was like the first shirts I printed. I don't even think you got one. I don't know if you did or not, or if you even want it. But I found it the other day. I thought it was pretty cute because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I thought it would be very appropriate to put it back here because we do love the tatas.
Very appropriate to have it up there. We do love
the tatas.
Do we get a blue one for Prostate Cancer Month?
Yes, we will. I'll put we love the bungholes. I don't know. Whatever.
No, we need a Dan Gets Rich. Save the pickle.
Yeah. When is it October that they do the mustaches for that too?
No, November. No Shave November.
Is it Movember? That's right. I'll start one because I just shaved. Look at that. Kind of
Oh,
clean.
you are fresh and clean. Should we
I was
grow that out? I
oh,
got a little
I was bushy.
patchy there.
I'll do the November thing, but I think you got to start from November and you start fresh and then let it grow. And I got no problem with that. But nowadays the mustaches in vogue. You got all the cool kids got their little derby hats on and shit, and at the little microbrewery, and they've all got their porno mustaches going. So it doesn't have the appeal that it used to have.
No, and mustaches are probably the most ridiculous thing ever. Do you know how bad I would look with a mustache?
We're gonna find out in November. We're gonna both go. We're gonna both go. I grow so fast, so by this afternoon will be a mustache.
Hey, one of our listeners just said, he goes, I hardly recognize Rich without his goatee. You do look a little different.
I don't either. Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. So we're not gonna shave all of November, and then the last day of November we're gonna shave everything but the mustache. Is that what you're telling me?
By everything, you mean everything on her face, not everything.
Yeah. I know you're a hairy man child. I know.
I am. I'm like a Chewbacca. Jeez, it's ridiculous. Oh my gosh, it's embarrassing. No, it's actually not. I don't care. Yeah, that's fine, but it's just the mustache. It can't be this. You got to get rid of the bottom. You got to just go stash.
Oh my God. It's only one day. I gotta do that. We'll do an episode with our mustaches and then we'll shave them off.
That's fine. That's fine. I got a big scar that goes from here to here. So I kind of always have that because I'm like scarred up. I bounced my chin off of a steering wheel one time.
Bar fight. I like that.
I bounced my chin off my Jeep one time. Yeah, it was bad. Hey, another race that went on we didn't talk about real quick was Man Chattanooga. I know it's one of my favorite cities, one of my favorite race destinations. I've never raced there. You have a few times, or at least a couple times, I know. How many times?
I finished once and failed once.
Okay, that's not a fail, Dan. We don't use that word around here. You just didn't. The day wasn't yours. So let's just call it that. So Ironman Chattanooga went on a couple weeks ago. Joe Skipper blasted the course record by 22 minutes. Man, he ran a 7:46.19, which it was 8 minutes ahead of Lionel Sanders. So that's booking, that's chugging, man. 22 minutes off the course record. Must have been some good conditions. I know that the Chattanooga, the little river there, is it the Chattanooga River? What river is it? The body of water.
Ahead. Let's go with the Chattanooga River.
The body of water at times flows pretty quickly. The year Janine was doing it a few years ago, they actually didn't have the swim. They canceled the swim because there was so much current, so much debris in the water because some storms they had upriver. But for a 4:14 bike split for Joe Skipper, man, that's booking, and especially considering there's 4 extra miles on the bike in Ironman Chattanooga. Why do they have 4 extra miles? What is that? Why they couldn't figure it out?
Probably because the way the bike course is set up, I think they have to have it that way, the way they do the course. I don't know. Maybe it's just so they have their own sticker and it's its own rate. Like nobody else is a 144.6. So I mean, when you talk about it, you obviously are talking about Chattanooga.
Yeah, you know it's Chattanooga. So Sky Munch clipped 20 minutes off the course record also for the female. So must have been some great conditions out there. They Joe Skipper won the race 8 minutes, like I said, ahead of my man Lionel Sanders. So Joe Skipper already had. No, it's fine. Sanders he's been racing well, man. I got no problem with that. He's going to peak at the right time. Sanders picked up a Kona slot along with Ben Hoffman. Joe Skipper had already picked up a Kona slot at another race previously. So Sanders and who did I say? Ben Hoffman secured their Kona slots at Ironman Chat. So good on them.
It's amazing that Lionel just got his Kona slot. Is that right? I mean, he did a 7. He raced against Jan Fernando, and even though it was only a mano-a-mano race, like he still went 7:45 or whatever he went. Then he's at the Collins Cup racing. Like you would figure he's secured enough points to race Kona. Like obviously we recognize that he's one of the best athletes, probably one of the most followed athletes. Like he's not pass, right?
He's not going to be at Kona, correct? He's going to be there somehow. So to your point, I think I was kind of surprised to see that also. I figured somewhere along the line he would have picked it up, especially with the volume that he's been putting in, the things he's been doing. He's been out there racing and putting in the work. So you would have thought he would have already had it by now, but apparently that was not the case.
Speaking of results and whatnot, did you see this whole thing going on with Triathlon Australia? Emma Carney, who is probably one of the number one ranked triathletes coming out of Australia, is basically saying that Australia is compromising their results because they want certain athletes to actually make the Olympics, which seems kind of crazy. But I guess there's been logged over the last 10 years, they've had over 600 complaints in 61 different sports about them manipulating the point system and who's racing what races to get them into the Olympics. And as you know, in Tokyo, obviously they came home empty-handed. None of them finished on the podium, and it's going to be an ongoing story. I saw this it came out of news. I think it was one of the Australian papers or New Zealand papers or whatever that I saw that was going on. And that just seems kind of crazy. Like, we always talk about how much money goes into the Olympics and how manipulated some of these people are. Like, first of all, yeah, Tokyo, the hottest time of the year. Let's have the Olympics there. Like, obviously someone's getting paid for that to happen. Like, now you're talking about the professional organizations within the countries trying to manipulate results. And
well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about here with the the qualifications for the Olympics and kind of the marathon and how that kind of works out and how you qualify for different things, different points, different tiers, and some everybody just go. And we've said this before, just go race and the winner goes. It's not hard, right? You've got to have this, but when you've got politics involved, whether politics are involved with everything. So the politics of trying to set up that team involved in the Good Old Boy Network or whatever. I don't know what's going on over there, but yeah, just let them go race. The winner goes. I don't understand it.
I agree. Everybody races the same course. Make it happen. And, I know you need certain points, allotments and whatnot, but it'll be interesting to see what happens on this ongoing story with Australia there. It just seems kind of crazy that you would try to manipulate where you want certain athletes to go. Like, it is what it is. I want my fastest athletes to go because I want my country to win. Like, isn't that the point of the Olympics?
The point is to win. So, maybe they'll see if that didn't work for their point structure or whatever did not work for them this time at the Olympics. That maybe they'll have to do something different. I mean, the Olympic organizations are all over the world. They're money laundering scammers.
They sure are. Talking about manipulating results. Yes, I mean, we could go on and on about the Olympics. It's probably one of the most corrupt things. Do you ever think the Olympics are going to go away? Like, there's just been so much controversy regarding the Olympics and things that go on. Like, is it kind of has it passed the point where it's actually relevant?
Well, I mean, I used to live for the Olympics. I was a little kid. I lived for the Olympics, and it was every 4 years, the Summer Games coming up, and then the same year would have the Winter Olympics. And I don't know when they kind of started alternating and every 2 years. So that kind of loses its luster, because whether you think of it as it's the Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics are different, obviously, but they're still the Olympics. So having something that occurs every 2 year kind of waters it down a little bit, whether, even though it's still the Olympics, but it's Olympics. I think that kind of waters it down. I liked having it every 4 years. So it really set a time when you could, look forward to it. And it was unusual for the year to have the Olympics. Now it's 50-50 every other year. It's got Olympics, so I think that kind of waters it down. And, they're professional athletes. They're professional athletes. There was a time when U.S. Olympic athletes were true amateurs. Now they're professionally paid athletes, good or bad. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll all go away. I think this year we definitely saw, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know there was a big reduction in viewership, a big reduction in money going into it for advertising. So if that kind of goes away in the advertising, the only reason people do anything on television is for advertising. The only reason the news is on the news is to sell you that advertising. And if that kind of goes away, if the viewerships goes away, if that's diminished, then the whole production will start to diminish.
There's no doubt about. Obviously, they switched it to the 2 years so they can make more money. I mean, that's got to be and keep it relevant. I agree with you. Every 4 years is kind of great, just because you're waiting for that 1 year where the Olympics. That's how it was when we were growing up. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. If the dollars start shrinking a little bit, yeah, I think the Olympics will definitely take a hit, but we'll see. But moving on, going from I don't know if you saw this or not, but USAT talking about manipulated race results, things like that. They signed a partnership with Remote Racing, and Remote Racing now they're doing with their age group national championships. Now they're having it where if you don't actually go to the race, you can still compete against everybody because Remote Racing has set up basically standards where you can remotely race against the best athletes in the world. And I look at it as, if you're a best athlete in the world, go to the age group championships and go prove it on the actual race course. But kind of uniquely, I mean, obviously when COVID started, they went through this whole thing where they were trying to figure out how people could compete against each other, and just kind of do virtual racing, and how someone competing on a flat course versus a hilly course is obviously not do that. But I guess Remote Racing's kind of figured it out, and it says that now athletes competing in different time zones and hilly terrain can now compete against each other. I guess Remote Racing automatically adjusts performances, based on where an athlete is. So, like if you're in Colorado climbing 5,000 feet versus someone in Florida, competing over 50 feet, but in 95-degree weather, I guess it normalizes out and basically figures out if you're doing that on the same course, you would be doing this. So. It's just kind of crazy. It says Remote Racing factors in accuracy variances for bike power sensors. Let's see. Remote Racing allows all athletes to compete together. Those athletes without power meters use GPS provided. Remote Racing detects cheating using GPS data, power, heart rate, cadence, and speed, along with each athlete's training history. Let's see. Remote Racing athletes equally have a maximum of 10 minutes between the bike and run to do their transition. Not right. Remote Racing localizes your results so that you can see what you would have done on an actual race course, i.e. USA Triathlon Nationals. Remote Racing equalizes for age and gender. In addition to providing traditional raw results, it means performances of 65-year-old woman can be compared to that of a 25-year-old male. So I don't know. I mean, it's I guess it's kind of cool to USAT trying to figure something to get people involved with that. But again, $45 to do it.
No. Remote Racing is the enemy of the people. Remote Racing is the enemy of the people. They want to quarantine us all into our house, never come outside, never interact socially, never be around each other. They want us in our home doing these remote races. They can make more money. We press a button. We start running on our treadmill. They've got a fan that oscillates 360 degrees around you, pushing the wind. They've got weather machines pouring down on us, but they don't want us to interact socially. They want us to keep us isolated here, and their enemy of the people is Remote Racing. Don't do it.
Rich, isn't that our dream? Not to be around people.
Well, I can go in the woods. I can go in the water. I can go in the ocean. I can go to the beach. I don't need to be around people, but I want to be outside. I don't want to be locked down, having to race against somebody here in my own home. So that's my take on that. But
we need to have Rocky back on, talk about what USAT is going forward. So we'll set aside 3 hours.
USAT is no different than a lot of these other organizations. They're trying to stay relevant, trying to stay woke, and trying to look ahead and see what the cultural mood is at the time. And a lot of their things are just, I look at me like, gosh, how much money and time and energy are they putting towards that when they should be doing this and just promoting triathlon, So we get the emails. I get the emails from them about these things. And I'm all for helping, Paralympics. I'm all for helping kids get into the sport. I'm all for doing things, but some of the things are kind of woke and, just promote your sports, promote triathlon. Just promote triathlon. That's your job. It's literally your job.
Literally. Speaking of
Literally.
results going on, obviously it's a lot different. Boston Marathon is happening tomorrow. So, obviously we talked about in the past.
I'm running
obviously,
it. I signed up. I'm running it.
you may as well. I
I'm
mean,
running
what
it.
the
I
hell?
signed
Why
up.
not? Why not? Yeah,
Yeah, I
good for
can.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm running the Boston Marathon. I'm going to wear my medal.
I like it. You
It's
should wear your
disgusting,
medal. You should
sorry.
wear your yeah. And anyway, as we talked about, Chris Nickick, first person to compete in Ironman with Down syndrome, is running his the first marathon there. So good on him. We'll be able to follow what he does. But it's going to be a lot different. We'll get into one other thing, but I just want your thoughts on the elite field. With it being in October now, obviously conditions are going to be a little bit different than they typically are in April when they have this. So I'm just curious. I wonder how that's going to affect the runners on there and what you think the results are. Do you think course record's going to be broken?
What's the temperatures there now compared to April? Do you know?
I mean, April can be colder. It's
It
probably going to
be colder and can be rainy.
Yeah, I mean,
seen some bad conditions at the Boston Marathon.
April, you can get anything.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the wind's probably going to be a little bit less right now, and it's probably going to be, I don't know, 50s, the high 50s, somewhere around there.
Perfect, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the playoff game on Tuesday night between the Red Sox and Yankees up in Boston, and everybody was wearing coats and stuff. So obviously, it's getting a little bit colder now. They should have we're in the midst of quote unquote leaf peeping season. When the leaves change, it's big time up there. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see, but. So they have the elite men's fields, kind of crazy. They have anywhere. So Asifa Mengetsu, who's running, he has the fastest time on the starting line. He ran a 2:04:06. Lemmy Berhianu, 2:04:33. Then you have Lasisa Desaya, who ran a 2:04:45, and then goes all the way down. Parker Stinson, they just listed off like top 30 guys. He ran a 2:10. So I mean, it's kind of crazy. How fast these people are. But
how many people on that list have their best are in 2:04? Like 4 or 5?
Nope.
3 or 4?
Three people are in the 2:04s. We have 2, 4, 5 people in the 2:05s. 3, 4 people in 2:06. So I mean, it's it'll be interesting. You got to bring your A game, obviously, when you're competing at the Boston Marathon.
Absolutely, and rightfully so. It's the biggest race, biggest marathon in the world, I would think.
Yeah, and then on the women's side, you have Emna Kiplagat. She ran 2:19:50, and then you have Mara Didaba, who ran 2:19:52. Those are the only people in the 2:19, and they both ran their best back in 2012. So, and then you have a couple 2:20s in there. It's it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm looking forward to watching that. And obviously, we always talk about gimmicky stuff that goes on with every single race. Now, Boston Marathon is not exempt from that. I did see an article come out. Danica Patrick is running her quote unquote first marathon, and it's going to be at the Boston Marathon. Talk about gimmicky. That is very gimmicky on there. What are your thoughts on
qualified.
That?
She qualified, right?
She said she was running her first marathon.
Oh, I thought she qualified. I thought you had to qualify for Boston. I don't know.
Not when you get a charity slot.
I know. I know. I think quality. If you're qualifying, and a lot of people work very, 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 very hard to go run Boston.
No doubt about it. I mean,
to just get tossed a slot, it kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't care for it.
Yeah,
realistically, it's taking away a slot from somebody that worked hard to do. I'm not diminishing what she's done. She might be training her ass off for years. Might be a great runner. I have no idea, no knowledge, but it's taking away a slot from somebody who did train and is trying to qualify for Boston.
Listen, I would love to run Boston. I'm never going to qualify to run Boston. I'm just not fast enough. I'm not a good enough long distance runner to be able to do it. Everybody who does qualify for Boston, good on you. Every year I'm always amazed the amount of people that run the qualifying time to go into the lottery to be accepted to Boston. I mean, it's just unbelievable how
Yeah.
fast some of those people are out there. And in my age group, I think I'd have to run. I think I had to run like a 258 or something like that to be able to get in there, which is, I'm never going to do that. So I'll be interested. She said her goal was to run sub 4 hours. So do you have the over under on 4 hours?
If it's good conditions and she says that's her goal, she probably will be close to that. She's not going to set out unrealistic goals. She probably close. And if the weather's good and I think we said it was going to be, so let's go. I go 3:59.
I'm taking the over. I don't think
you got the over. Damn, just like that. Throw Danica under the Formula One car.
That's right. All her life, she's been sitting behind a wheel. I think it'll be a lot different when she's got to use her legs.
She was dating the football player. What's his name?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they're not dating anymore, right? Are they?
No.
He dropped her like a bad habit.
I don't know how that actually went down.
She seems like she'd be amicable. She seems like she'd be a pain in the ass.
Oh, for sure. Imagine living with her. Jesus.
Oh my gosh, she's annoying. She's annoying. I'm a NASCAR fan. You know, she came over NASCAR and people were like, "Oh God, get this bitch out of here." I got no problem with women. I got no problem with women driving. I think they're probably can be fantastic, but I think it's her kind of attitude, and
It was definitely her attitude. I mean, I think you need to be edgy, though. She came into a sport, obviously, where she's the only female. So obviously, I think her being a little combative was probably her way of, kind of bowing up to the people saying, I do belong being here. And I'm not just a female car driver that basically got a slot to go do this.
Just like she did in Boston, right?
No, but she earned her way onto the NASCAR circuit, right? I think. I mean, there's a lot of drivers out there that I would think could take her slot. I don't know that to be okay, but she earned her way she drove Formula One, then came to NASCAR, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so she earned her way to be a Formula One racer, and maybe I don't know. I don't know enough, but maybe she was able to.
I mean, obviously, there's an effort in both sports to get women involved and get women fans and get that kind of demographics that maybe was lacking, and that was the way they thought they could do it. And I think it backfired on both of them, to be honest with you.
I don't know. Maybe there was a lot of money influxed into the sport when she came in by the sponsors. A lot of money
in Formula One, man. A lot.
The budgets of Formula One is insane.
So, I mean, but you see some of these I'm not a Formula One fan, but you see some of these Formula Ones, they start with 12 cars, 14 cars. You're like, because it's probably just so expensive to put a car out there. I don't know.
I think those teams to run a competitive Formula One team, I think it's $100 million a year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think one of the drivers was one of the highest paid athletes in the world. A Formula One driver. I can't remember it. I don't know.
Lewis Hamilton, who's probably one of the best car drivers. Yes, I think he makes about $60 million a year.
Little bit more than you make, but not much. It's close.
It's a little bit more than the budget of the DGR.
Hey, October 24th, Ironman California showdown for Daniel Iden showdown. I think they're billing this as, Iden coming off his second 70.3 World Championships and kind of head-to-head. I think Iden will be running his first full distance. And for Daniel out there, hadn't lost a full distance in a minute. So they're kind of billing this to be a big race. What do you think of that?
I do. I think Iden's got a legitimate shot to take him down. I think he's peaking. Even though Frodeno's been unbelievable, he is 39 years old. I mean, he's done multiple Ironman distance races this year. He did the Collins Cup, even though he won those, it looked like he was laboring a little bit more. I saw in Gustav at the Collins Cup we watched, he's so fluid and effortless, and he absolutely annihilated the 70.3 World Championships. I think it is going to be pretty close. I think I will take Iden over Frodeno.
Am I correct in that this will be Iden's first full distance?
I think so. Yes.
Test. I think I read that. I might have my facts wrong. Somebody, if I'm wrong in that, somebody correct me. But I think that's correct. And man, putting the first full distance out there and making such a showcase out of this, as you know, Iron Man's trying to prep it up and trying to get some good PR for them. But I'm untested in that distance. I'm going to go for Danielle.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, known commodities. Hasn't lost a race in what, 4 years, or however long it's been.
I had since 2017 Kona. I think he had some back pain, and he finished like 30th or something like that. Was this last time he has not won a full distance race.
Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable. The torch has to be passed at some point, and I truly believe Gustav is a good enough cyclist and a good enough runner, and I think he's fair. Frodeno will obviously, I think he's going to beat him out of the water. I don't know by how much, but Frodeno's an unbelievable swimmer. I don't know. I think it'll be a good head-to-head. It's tough to go against Frodeno because he's been so dominant for so long. But again, I mean, when you talk about Iden, I think Iden's 25 years old and Frodeno's 39, pushing 40. I think, at some point your body says, you have nothing left to prove on there.
Hey, I grew up playing. I was just on a note. You were talking about age and stuff. I just, I grew up playing racquetball. Played a lot of racquetball when I was young. Played, traveled all over the Southeast playing racquetball tournaments and stuff. And they had a guy, Kane is his last name. Is his first name. I guess it's Kane. I don't even know. I don't even follow the racquetball. He's won the national championships for 17 years straight. He said it's going on right now. The U.S. Nationals is going on. He's the best, the best racquetball player in the world for 17 years. Kane Wozniacek or whatever. I don't even follow it anymore, but it came up on my little Facebook. I was like, that's amazing. That's an amazing run to be the best in your sport for 17 years. And that got me thinking, I mean, in what other sport has somebody been the best, the most dominant in their sport for that long? I can't think of anybody.
Tom Brady.
I knew that was coming out of your Tom Brady mouth. You're such an ass kiss, man.
So this is what I would say. And again, I can't remember how long Wayne Gretzky played for, but I would put Wayne Gretzky, I would put Tiger Woods in that. And you could probably even go back Jack Nicklaus. I can't remember how long he was, but he was probably in that conversation as well. Yeah, I mean, very few people, 17 years, man. That's a long, long time.
Kane wasn't
a sport.
Yeah, so 17 years has been the best racquetball player, and that's a physically. I mean, obviously if he's been doing it 17 years, he's got to be 40, or close to that. I would think he's somewhere in there. I haven't even looked at it, but to be in that physically fit, demanding sport where they're diving all over the place, just smashing the ball, for that long. I just thought that was interesting, and it came up on my little timeline today. I was watching that. So anyway, I don't know where I went with that. Hey, let's do 3 questions, man. You got 3 questions?
I'm in. Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, we just talked about Alabama, Roll Tide. They had a 21 game, I think, regular season winning streak. What's the longest winning streak in college football? What do you think it is?
I want to say back in the day when the Cornhuskers back to like 94, 95 were so dominant, I want to say, I got to say they won 40 games in a row.
That's where I went, man. That's what was my first thought, was that a Nebraska team where they were running kind of that wishbone. I think they kind of ran that wishbone option kind of. Billy Sims, was he there that kind of time? Can't recall, but that's where I went. But I was incorrect. It was the Oklahoma Sooners from 1953 to 1957. I mean, you remember that team? That team was awesome.
Well, since I was born in 78, it's kind of hard to remember that. Yeah,
so it's hard for even me to remember. I'm a million years old and I wasn't alive then either. So, but yeah, in my time, I thought it was that Nebraska run where they had a good run. I don't recall even what it was, but I think I want to say might have been a little earlier than that. Billy Sims was there maybe in 1981. I don't remember.
I don't know, man. Winning that many games. Winning that many games in a row, absolutely unbelievable.
I do know that Florida State finished in the top 4 like 11 years in a row, so that was a pretty good run for Bobby Bowden.
Keep resting on those laurels, buddy.
Got to, buddy. They won yesterday.
Hey, I told you I went down to watch the Red Sox playoff game.
Yes, sir.
They ended up they hit 6 home runs in the game. What is the record for the most home runs hit by one team in Major League Baseball?
Whew. I'm gonna say they were almost halfway there. I think 13.
Ooh, that's a little bit high. The Toronto Blue Jays back in 1987 hit 10 home runs in a game.
In 1987, who would have been on that team?
That would have been like George Bell, Upshaw. I can't remember who's Upshaw's first name. You would have had
so it was
Dante Bichette, I think, was on that team. So
it was 9.
No, they hit 10.
It was 9.
They hit 10. They hit 10 home runs. Yeah,
that seems it just seems low.
Really? 10 home runs in a professional Major League Baseball game? That's just
I mean there's players that have hit 4, right? 5? What's the most by one player? 4, definitely.
Yeah, 4. You had
I think Mike Schmidt hit 4.
Yep. Devon White hit Devon White hit 4. He was on the Blue Jays. I don't know if he was on the team back in 87. I can't remember how many people have hit 4 home runs, but yeah, there's been a few. Lou Gehrig was the first one in 1932 to do that. But yeah, I don't know how many people have hit that. But yeah, 10 home runs, one game, pretty impressive.
That is impressive. I thought it would have been a little bit more than that, but yeah, I guess it seems like a lot of home runs. So he hit 6 the other night.
Yep,
they were almost there. All they had to do is bash a couple more. Hey, the White House. The White House is the most visited private residence in the United States. What's the number 2 most visited private residence in the United States? What do you think? You got any guesses?
Man, number 2 private residence. I don't even have a guess, man. I don't even know what would be who opens their home as a private residence. I'm going to go Stephen King.
Somebody is dead. Somebody is dead. Right? You would think because they're not living there anymore.
Is it still considered a private residence then, or is it a museum at that point?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to. I know the answer, so I'm trying to figure out.
Paul Revere's house.
Have you ever been to Paul Revere's house?
Yeah, it's on the Freedom Trail.
Yeah, I've never. Yeah, okay. I have the Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh,
Elvis Presley's house.
God,
Elvis's house. So number 1 most visited private residence is obviously the White House in Graceland's followed closely in number 2.
Do you have like a top 10? I'd just be curious. I have no idea.
No, that's all I have.
No. Fair enough. You always talk about me being a homer, and this is going to be a Tom Brady question. He just passed the record for the most passing yards in a career. He passed Drew Brees when they played the New England Patriots last week. He is now the leader with 80,359 yards. I'm sorry. 8,
I thought you were going to ask me how many.
No.
I thought you were going to ask me how many yards. I was trying to figure it out in my head.
No. I'm going to ask you, how many yards do you think Tom Brady's going to end his career with?
Oh, we can't answer that. There's no answer to that.
Yeah, you're projecting and guessing how long you think he's going to play and how many yards he's going to play for each year.
How many has now?
Okay,
82,000?
80,500.
80,000. I knew the kind of was close. I kind of listened to you. I usually don't listen to a word you say. 80,500.
Okay, how about this? Is the over-under 95,000 yards?
No, he's going to get hurt this year. He's not going to get to 90.
No, but I'm saying he could play more years, or are you saying his career's ending this year?
Yeah. He's got a career ending this year, so he's probably got another 3,000 yards.
Why would you wish that upon?
I would never wish that on anyone. I'm just saying he's getting old. His bones are brittle. He's not mobile. He stands back there like a statue. They're coming at him. 300-pound men coming at him.
I'm gonna say
you're gonna say 2 million yards. He's gonna play for infinity.
First of all, you can't call me a homer anymore because he doesn't play for my team. But I do enjoy watching him play. I think he is going to throw. I think he's going to play for 3 more years. I think he'll get to 93,000 yards.
93,000 yards. Write it down on this date, October 10th. What are we? October 10th,
We are on
2021.
October 10th. Yep.
On the Dan Gets Rich, he says, how many yards? 93,000?
93,000.
Okay, write it down. He's not
Book
getting
it.
to 90,000. He's not getting to 90.
All right. All right,
That
what you
makes
got?
you
You
so
last,
sad.
your last one.
I'm going to go Memphis again. How many Memphis is known for its barbecue?
Yes.
Do you like barbecue, Dan?
I'll eat barbecue, but it's probably not something that I'd ever be like, man, I'm really craving barbecue. But I'll eat it.
I like barbecue.
You look like a barbecue guy. I don't know what that means, but it looks like you could indulge in some barbecue.
I like barbecue, Dan. I like barbecue. Hey, Memphis, how many barbecue restaurants do you think are in the city of Memphis? There's 600,000 people live in Memphis. So there's a population of 600,000 people. How many barbecue restaurants do you think are in Memphis, Tennessee?
I am going to say there are 55 barbecue restaurants, and I'm probably way off.
You're not even halfway there. There's 117 barbecue restaurants in Memphis, Tennessee.
Man, that's a lot.
That's a lot of barbecue. I could go up there and just go through every one of those. That'd be fun, man. Wouldn't that be fun?
You might weigh a few more pounds. You might have that spare tire like I had last year on that shirt when the wind was blowing.
I was going to say, you
might have one of those.
You're looking svelte. The last couple of times I've seen you, man, you're looking good. You lost some weight?
I need to.
You look like you've lost some weight, man. You look good.
Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate that, Rich.
Dropping those LBs, buddy.
Dropping the LBs. I need to drop a few more LBs.
It's the wind, buddy. It's the wind. You're not fat. It's the wind blowing on your shirt.
That's a thing. That's a thing.
It's not a thing, dude. It's not a thing. You were chunky that year. You had a spare tire that year. I had that picture. I had that picture too.
I think I was definitely a Clydesdale in that picture.
Yeah, you were a Clydesdale. What do you weigh, Dan? What do you weigh? Tell me.
What do you
weigh right now?
I haven't weighed myself in a couple of days, but I've been teetering around the 211 somewhere.
I was going to say 210. My guess was going to be 210. And for 6'11", that's not bad.
Yeah. I'd like to get back down to the low. I want to be back at like 202.
202 is your good weight?
I don't know if it's good weight, but it's good racing weight.
Yeah.
It's tough trying to run. It's tough trying to run fast when you have 10 extra pounds.
What do you have in store for in the future?
Nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing on the
nothing planned. Do you feel a little bit lost when you don't have anything on the agenda, when you don't have anything set, when you don't have anything to work for, when you don't have anything to train for, or do you feel free?
I feel free because I can go out and do a workout and just be like, I'm good. I don't need to go anymore. I would like to do the Clash sprint distance. I don't want to do the 70.3 because I did that last year. I was in much better shape than I am right now. So I could probably suffer through the sprint.
Okay, I know where you can get a discount code. Message me later, okay?
Ooh, discounts are good. As far as that, what 2020 or 2022 has in store, I don't know. Why don't some of our listeners call in or reach out to us and tell me what races they'd like to see me do
for next year, for 2022?
Yes,
we've got to plan out your schedule.
Sure, plan out my schedule, but it is not going to include any Ironman distance races. So don't say that.
So no 70.3s, no full distance.
No. I'll do a 70.3. No full distance races.
10-4. Sounds good. Let's plan it out. Hey, Dan, it's nice talking to you on the Sunday morning edition of the Dan Gets Rich Endurance Sport podcast. Hope you have a good week and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, sounds good, man. It's been a while. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
We're season number 3, episode 13. I didn't realize that. I didn't know in my intro. I didn't look that up. You already had it there on the screen for us. I appreciate
it. Had it set up for you. So one of our listeners here, Average Joel, just chimes in telling me I need to race a Desto in 20 days, which is not going to happen. I think that's a 70.3, and that is a recipe for disaster. I should not do that. He also put challenge
What's that, a
on there.
Desto?
Adesto, yes. He is doing it. I know we have a couple other people doing it. I am not prepared. I think I've been doing my bike rides for like 30 minutes right now. I don't think I'm prepared to do 56 miles. And he also put Challenge Roth on there. Although I would love to do Challenge Roth. Again, that's a full distance and not doing that.
Ain't happening. Ain't happening. Hey, Average Joe, how you doing, buddy? Nice seeing you. Hey, Dan, nice talking to you, brother. Have a good day.
All right, man.
Go do your thing.
You
Talk
too.
to you later. Bye-bye.
Talk soon. All right. Bye.